Hello guys, and welcome to CSES problem set, problem number 3, repetition. So we're given a DNA sequence, which is a string consisting of characters A, C, G, and T. Our task is to find the longest repetition in the sequence, and this is a maximum length of string containing only one type of character. We're given a string of n characters, and then we're asked to print the length of the longest repetition. So for instance, if we're given the string A, T, T, C, G, 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 A, G occurs 3 times, which is the output. But how do we check this? Well, what we can do is just say, hey, we have our previous value, right, called A, and we've seen it the first time, so we set counter to 1. We check the next value if the value is equal to A. If it's not, then we reset the counter back to 1 because we've seen this the first time, and then we check the next one to see if that's equal to the previous. If it is, then we increment the counter by 1, right, and so forth. The thing here is that if we're at the end, let's say for example we didn't have A and we saw this and we kept on going, we have to actually check the max counter at the end because there's nothing else to actually check to see if the counter has changed or not, if that's the max value. So we have to check it at the end to see if the count is actually greater, the current count is greater than the max. So let's go ahead and actually implement this problem. So what we're going to do first is just include some preprocessor. So for this we need a IO string, and we're also going to need the string header. Do a string here, and let's add the namespace. Next thing we want to do is let's create some type defs. So type def, and this is going to be string. I'm going to call this one SS, and we need one for unsigned int. We call this one I, and we can go ahead and include everything in main. So what do we need? Well, we need to create a variable to hold our string, and then we need some few things. One, an int to hold our current count, which is going to be our current counter. We can equal this to 0 for now, and then we need to we need a max variable. We can set that to 0, and we also need to hold our previous value. So we're going to say previous is going to equal to 0. We know that we can actually treat characters as integers, so I'm going to make use of that. Next thing I want to do is actually take in our string. So I'm going to say in, and let's go ahead and create a for loop. I'm going to create I here. It's going to be an assigned int. Call it n. It's going to equal to 0 for now. I'm going to say while n is less than in dot length. We're going to go ahead and increment n. Now let's do the logic for this. Well, what I want to do is we're going to check. We're going to say if so in and n, and if we XOR that by previous, and that is equal to 0, that means that we've seen that value already. So what we're going to do is just increment the current counter. Else, if we haven't seen that, then all we need to do is check to see if current is actually greater than the max. If that's true, we set max equal to current, and what we need to do is set current equal to 1 because that's the first time we're seeing that value. And then all we need to do is set our previous equal to our current character, right? Okay. So this works fine in most cases, except when we have a longer sequence at the end of the string. So for example, if I just went ahead here and I said, let's go ahead and print out let's print out max. Okay, so let's go ahead here and do a quick debug. So let's say if I had a sequence like A, G, 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 and I had enter, we're expecting 3, but we only get 1. The thing is that, so if we had A here and it was 1, so the current max becomes 1, and then we go to G, so we go G, G, G. This goes into this loop here. It never goes, it's in this if statement here, so it just increments counter 3 times, but it never really checks to see if that is the current counter is greater than the max. It set the new max, right? So what we can do is this. Let's try something else and see that if it works for that case. So let's try something like A, G, 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 A, and see. So this gives us the right value because the offset at the end actually just accounts for 1. So it never really checks for the 1 though. So what we need to do is this. At the end here, before we actually print max, we're going to say that if if current is actually greater than max, then our new max is going to be the current value. All right, so now this makes more sense. So let's go ahead and build this again. And now if we try something like A, G, 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 we should get our 3 back. All right. So now that we have this, let's go ahead and decouple C++ standards from C standards to make collecting our inputs a lot faster. So what we need to do is type in cin and tie, and I'm going to set that to 0 like we did in our last video, and we're going to do cout. And we're going to do ifs underscore base async not bad. Do a sync with studio, and we're going to set that to 0 as well. Alright, so now we have this. Let's go ahead and save this, and what I'm going to do is open this on the desktop and save the file so that we can actually easily add this online. So I'm going to copy the file and I'm going to paste it on my desktop. Alright, and let's go ahead and submit this for a solution. So let's go to submit, and let's browse. Let's pick the repetition C++ file. Let's open it and let's submit. Alright, and we're good here. We've passed all the tests. This will be it for this problem. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good day. Bye bye.